Alright, KSI is in flat out denial about this DQ situation with Joe Fournier, and I'm going to break it down right here. As a pure combat sports fan, nothing gets me more annoyed than the situation and just people being flat out ignorant, as well as people not taking into account that Joe Fournier got incredibly screwed over with this situation. I want to talk about all this and more, and we're going to get into it real quick. But first, as always, we are almost at 11,000 subscribers, so if you guys could hit that subscribe button, try to get us there. We're trying to get there by the end of the week, trying to grow this thing fast. We're trying to get 20K by the end of the year. Pretty ambitious goals, so if you guys could just support, hit the subscribe button. I know a lot of you guys watch without subscribing, but if you guys could just hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and even share if you guys can, I'd appreciate that a lot. But like I said, we're going to be talking about this KSI situation on Misfits, and if you guys are confused, I'm going to be breaking it down for you guys. I'm also going to be breaking down what could happen to KSI and Joe Fournier. Can this fight be overturned? We're going to break that down all right now. Like I said, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and let's get into this. Alright, KSI Joe Fournier happened this weekend. This is a fight that a lot of people were excited for. KSI fighting 9-0 pro boxer Joe Fournier, and the first round kind of went as a lot of people expected. KSI landing a lot of shots, clearly hurting Joe Fournier. Didn't really knock him down, but a few moments where he was a little bit wobbled, where his legs were gone. Then in the second round, in my opinion, I thought Joe Fournier was landing a few good shots, landing a few good right hands, and I'm not saying that he would have won the fight, but definitely had some moments. Then KSI lands a massive overhand, rocking Joe Fournier, and then they clinch up, and originally what I thought had happened was that KSI knocked him out with a left hook inside the clinch, and I was like, wow, that is a lot of power to be able to hurt someone from their clinch like that, to the point where they're knocked out cold. Like, that's really impressive. But then upon watching the replay, I remember watching on the TV, being like, what the hell, and seeing KSI elbowing Joe Fournier. Like, you can't do that in boxing. I mean, I don't mean to sound like Captain Obvious, but just straight up throwing an elbow in the fight. And first of all, I want to make this clear, I don't think that KSI threw this thing intentionally. I get it. Look, could I be critical of KSI and say that he should get DQ'd or punished for this? Absolutely. There's a point to that, but at the same time, KSI, he's in the heat of a fight. The guy isn't exactly the most experienced fighter. I don't really blame him at all for the elbow landing. However, I think the aftermath is severely embarrassing for boxing, as well as Misfits, as well as for Mams Taylor, as well as KSI, because the handling of the situation was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. And I get it, KSI probably didn't understand right away, and I'll even give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he thought he legitimately landed the punch that put out Joe Fournier, but the Misfits broadcasting team barely even acknowledged it, and KSI even denying it on the broadcast when asked about it.
To be fair, some of Joe Fournier's fans believe the punch that knocked him out was actually an elbow that clipped him in the chin. What say you?
Nah, Mo. I hit him with a massive shot, and he was dazed. He was scrambling, trying to hold on to me for dear life. I was like, brother, no. It's D-Day. Your soul is mine.
And since my last video talking about it, Jake Paul has come out talking about it, saying it's disrespectful to boxing, which I agree with. It's rare to see me and Jake Paul agree, but we're gonna agree with this one. And another massive thing that happened is that Joe Fournier is now officially appealing the decision. Joe Fournier could possibly get this as a DQ loss for KSI. Yes, KSI could actually lose this fight. And if it's a DQ, I honestly am not going to be that upset about it. I think it should be a no contest, clearly unintentional, especially when you consider the level that these guys are fighting. Like, this isn't a pro fight. These aren't real fighters, so I don't mind this being a no contest. But one of the things that made me want to continue talking about it is, first of all, the lack of acknowledgement from KSI or his team. Mams Taylor making tweets setting up future fights without even acknowledging the whole KSI elbow situation, as well as Keemstar also making excuses for it. And if things couldn't be worse, KSI's coach, somebody who is supposed to be teaching martial arts, something that is supposed to be humble, after KSI clearly cheats, according to Joe Fournier, goes up to Joe Fournier in the corner, insulting him, telling him to watch his back, and threatening him.
What did his trainer say to you that was disrespectful?
He said to me, I hold all the cards, don't ever fuck with me, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck's he talking about? Have you seen my press conferences, how respectful I've been of Team KSI and his coaching team, London Shoot Fighters? I've known those guys longer than I've known David A. And they've done the corner opposite me. We fucking had dinner together, and now he's insulting me. For what? Just because I came to bring a real fight and then they had to cheat to win. Saying, hey, yeah, you watch your back, trying to threaten me. Fucking idiot. I'm from London, baby. Don't forget that.
It's a terrible look for KSI and his team, and that is so embarrassing, honestly. Shame on those coaches if that is true. Maybe it's not true. I don't know. I don't want to assume, but I don't understand why Joe Fournier would lie about this. It's extremely fucked up. And KSI even trying to defend himself by saying the glove landed. Despite watching the replay, you could clearly tell the glove did not land. Like, that was a perfect elbow. Like, that was literally quite a picture-perfect elbow. That if this was MMA, I'd be like, holy shit, KSI KSI just fucking floored that dude. But sadly, this is not MMA. In this case, it's boxing. Joe Fournier was not expecting to get hit with that elbow. But I'm gonna read KSI's statement. KSI tweets out at 10 a.m. Eastern time and says, "I worked very hard for this fight. I had an intense and grueling camp. There's no better feeling than being in that ring and having my hand raised in front of my loyal and amazing fans who I appreciate so much. Unfortunately, the victory was inevitable no matter what. It is tarnished and I hate that. It sucked. After landing my overhand, he was pretty much out on his feet and I went for a short left hook. As Joe clinched me and fell into me, I landed the hook and my glove made contact, but it appears it may have been followed with an unintentional contact with my forearm. I'm gutted that it's not as clean of a win as I wanted. It feels like it diminishes my hard work with my trainers. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate the support. Sorry to all the fans disappointed with it. No one is more than me." And there's a few things to break down about this statement. First of all, yes, I can understand it does suck for KSI, and I'd probably be a little more sympathetic towards KSI if it wasn't for this whole handling of the situation. It's not KSI's fault that he landed the elbow, but he's just straight up lying about things here. First of all, he says after landing his overhand, basically Joe Fournier was out on his feet. Look, he was rocked, but out on his feet is a little bit of an exaggeration. Do I think that there could have been a sequence of events where Joe Fournier could have possibly got finished there? Absolutely, yes. But out on his feet is not true. You know, you can't be out on your feet and then engage in a clinch. If you're out on your feet, you're not going to show any level of defense, and that's just facts. Then KSI explains that what he was trying to do was go for a short right hook, which is clearly what he was trying to do, but claims that he basically hit Joe Fournier and then the elbow proceeded to land after that, but that's not what happened. You could clearly see in the video that the elbow is the only thing that makes contact. Like, the excuses coming off KSI is ridiculous, especially since it's really not his fault. Like, he doesn't have to defend anything. If KSI came out and said, "Hey, I'm really sorry for the situation. It was an accident and it sucked. I wish I could redo it, but there's nothing I could do," and even still move on to the Tommy Fury fight, okay, acknowledge it though. Don't pretend that this is a loss and don't celebrate like a jackass afterwards. Don't post pictures of Joe Fournier knocked out on your Twitter. Essentially what this is, in my opinion, and this might be a little bit of an exaggeration, is like if I'm boxing someone and they turn my back because the round ends and I just punch them in the head, knocking them out and then celebrate it after. Like, no. Joe Fournier isn't prepared to defend against elbows, and that's the whole point. Like, that's why he got knocked out. He's not expecting to get hit with a vicious elbow. Like you always hear, you get knocked out with the shots you don't expect, and you're not going to expect an elbow. And all in all, that's the situation so far. It's extremely disappointed, and honestly, I feel most bad for Joe Fournier. Look, guys, at the end of the day, KSI is going to be fine. He's still going to have his fans. He's going to have his YouTube channel. He's probably going to have that Jake Paul fight later on this year. This was Joe Fournier's opportunity, and that's what you guys have to understand. Joe Fournier had this opportunity to shock the world, beat KSI. Do I think that would have happened? I'm not saying that. I don't think that would have happened, and I predicted that KSI would win in the third round, and KSI had a lot of good moments in the fight. But you guys don't know what could happen. Like I said, you know, we saw Joe Fournier landing some right hands early on into round 2. He could have picked up the momentum, and he did eat that overhand. Most people get hit with that overhand, and they fall. Look at Pineda. Look at Swarm. Look at Logan Paul. Like, a lot of these guys get dropped by those shots. Joe Fournier took that shot pretty well. Yes, he was wobbled, but I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to say Joe Fournier could win. I don't think that he would win anyway, but that doesn't matter. You're still robbing Joe Fournier of a massive opportunity, and it's just wrong. I get it. I guess you could say KSI gave him the opportunity at the end of the day, but it still sucks for Joe Fournier. He got robbed of an opportunity, and I think that there needs to be justice. In an ideal world, I would like to see Joe Fournier versus KSI 2, not because I want to see it, but just because it's the right thing. However, that's not going to happen, including myself. I'm not interested in watching that fight, so they're probably going to move on to Tommy Fury, and that is a fight that I'm excited about. And a message to KSI, if you're watching this, you're losing your fans, bro. Like, I'm no disrespect, but you're losing your fans. You know, you start off the year with this whole Wade concept situation, basically firing him for no reason, and then you go on and say racial slurs, and now this, like, a lot of your fans are seeing through your bullshit. And the PB of 8 is the sanctioning body of this boxing fight, so that is kind of what's overseeing this thing, and they aren't exactly the best commission. You know, they have worked with the UFC, but they're basically the guidelines and making sure that Misfits is enforcing the rules of boxing and making this kind of a clean sport. However, this is an embarrassment of a sanctioning body. You know, they have yet to make a statement of this as I'm recording this video. If you look at their situation with Kingpin and how they handled them, that was totally unprofessional. These guys are super unprofessional, and I guarantee you this, they're not going to do anything about this KSI situation, simply because Misfits is paying them. It is extremely wrong and fucked up for Joe Fournier, and honestly, this thing just gets me annoyed as a combat sports fan, because I want to see fairness. I want to see people have a fair shake. This is supposed to be a 50-50 fight. This isn't like we could do whatever we want. Like, it's not fair at the end of the day, and if the PBA does nothing about it, it just shows how much of an embarrassment they truly are. This could take a while to even appeal, so we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna keep you guys updated. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this whole KSI situation with Joe Fournier and this elbow. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.